It's another beautiful morning to be alive. Yes, wake up and grind until you achieve success. Success is not easy to come by. You must work hard for it, for nothing good comes easy. This is Good Morning Abuja, and I am Pamela Zamfara. And it promises to be very educating and entertaining. So please stay with us on the program as we come your way with conversations that would set you on the right pace, to go about head high head held high and do everything you need to do for the day. And if what you set out to achieve today does not come to play, there's still tomorrow. Yes. God gives us different opportunities at different times. You know how we always do it. We always start off with a motivational talk, and Lanre Olushola is standing by.
You want to know the 5 things that you need to have, 5 things you need to do to create the best version of yourself, because that simply is what you need. 1, you need to know the original version. That is, Socrates says that one of the most important things in life is to know yourself, know yourself, know yourself. This is very important because if you do not know yourself, you can never be the best version of you. Second thing that you need to understand, that you need to know, is how do you best function? That is, functionality is critical. And how do you function? Do you function with strengths and do you function with weaknesses? Without an understanding of your strengths and your weaknesses, you cannot improve, you cannot be a better version of yourself. So it is when you know your strengths and your weaknesses that you know what to eliminate. And when you do know, then eliminate the weaknesses and create a new version. But it is important for you, the third thing, to be flexible in your thinking and in your behavior, because without a flexibility of thinking and behavior, change can never happen. When you're flexible in your thinking, in your perception and your behavior, then the change will certainly happen. And then the fourth thing is you must set a goal around being the best version of you. When you want to set a goal, you must first of all visualize the person that you want to be. Visualize it, see it in your inner eyes before you can make it happen. After you visualize it, then begin to ask yourself, what are the critical things that you need to do? What are the things that you must stop doing? What are the things that you can learn additionally to add to the things that you're doing right? And then you must begin to take action. Because look, you can visualize, you can dream, you can know, you can diagnose what the strengths and weaknesses are. But if you do not take the requisite action, everything will fall apart. So take action. And those are the 5 most critical things that you need to do.
Welcome back from that motivational talk by Lanre Olushola. Thank you so much for telling us the 5 things we need to do to become the best version of who we are. Now, up next is our health segment, and it's on blood pressure.
High blood pressure. High blood pressure. I mean, that's something that affects everybody. It affects everybody. It affects, in my estimation, over the age of 40, I think I would say 50 to 75% of people over the age of 40 can maybe having either high blood pressure or close to high blood pressure. Unfortunately, 50% of them don't even know about it. And I'm not just talking about people who are not educated or people who work on the farms and are not literate. I'm talking about highly literate people, highly accomplished professionals. And I've seen them some of them in our practice in our center where we see them and they're like, no, I don't have hypertension. I've never had a hypertension. And then when you sit them down and you test their blood pressure, boom, got high blood pressure.
Welcome back. Thank you so much, Dr. David Ajibade, for what you told us, for educating us on high blood pressure. Now we go on a short break. When we come back, all our conversations for the day begin. So please go nowhere. Stay with the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5 Abuja.
welcome you on today's ride on the show Good Morning Abuja.
This is Window on Abuja.
We have everything it takes to compete with any nation all across the world.
How do we make it? We are not ready to produce.
I've been contributing to the development of your kingdom.
They know my story.
Hello and welcome to Young Hearts.
Our focus today will be on hepatitis B. Ladylike!
This is Entertainment Gist.
In the 14th century, 15th, 16th century, and even 17th.
There is for zakah to cure our greed.
The purpose why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to create humanity.
The Bible talks about a man called Apollos. This is NTA Abuja Channel 5.
See you same time.
And have a great and blessed week ahead.
Welcome back from that break. Yes, it's still Good Morning Abuja, your darling breakfast show. They say safety is everyone's business. If you're alert today, you are alive tomorrow. And if you refuse to be alert today, I don't know what might end up happening. Now, we come your way every morning with conversations that are life-saving. I know you know that. And trending conversations also. And we're in the spirit of doing just that this morning. In the studio, I have seated here, Mr. Joe Udwa. He is Managing Director, RCL Industrial Safety Center Limited. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice for having me.
Yeah. So we will be discussing developing first responders and fire warden in workplaces to help in emergency response. That's quite long. Can you help us break it down so that our viewer know exactly what we're talking about?
Right. So put it this way, first responders and fire wardens usually those volunteers or appointees in the workplaces that interface between the workplaces and the emergency response services, within the community or within the city where you reside. And as a matter of fact, the first responders also have the responsibility of making sure that certain conditions are met, which are like the fire drills and all of the activities that needs to happen, before the external emergency response arrives, so that lives can be saved and also the workplace can be compliant.
You spoke about them being people who interface between. Do people know that? Does every workplace or community have fire wardens and first responders? Do people even know that such people should be everywhere?
Unfortunately, people don't know, and also most workplaces do not know, and most public places as well, like shopping malls and markets, all of that, do not know. So which is why it's important that the awareness is created, that folks need to be able to have these fire wardens and emergency responders, first responders within the organizations, and they need to be appointed. They don't need to be new employees, as a matter of fact. So they're picked from within, but there are certain qualities that they need to be able to have, and that they can be further trained and equipped to perform those functions.
Tell us about these qualities that they should have.
Right, the qualities they should have are simple qualities. They need to be able to communicate. They need to be communicators, because communication is the essential part of emergency response or evacuation plan. They need to be able to read and write, and they need to be physically fit, and they need to understand the evacuation plan of the premises or the workplace where they reside or where they operate. So these are the simple qualities that they need to have.
I need you to tell us why it is important for workplaces, for communities to have first responders and fire wardens at every point.
Correct. So I'll give you an instance. For instance, if you're such a rich man and you have the best trained doctor, except the doctor lives in your bedroom, you are at the mercy of a first responder. because when you're vegetated, when you're unable to respond or move or crawl, it's the first responder who will alert this your best trained doctor to arrive. Is this your emergency first responder that will give you the needed CPR, for instance, before your best trained doctor arrives? So in actual sense, first responders are the immediate ones that alert those emergency responders to show up, emergency response services to show up. They are the ones that make sure that even the fire extinguishers you have in your offices are valid and up to date. They are the ones that make sure that the muster points where you have outside are clear and marked so that when emergency arrives, people know how to evacuate the building and assemble at the assembly point. They are the ones that will make sure that your sprinkler systems are functional. They are the ones that make sure that at the end of the day, when people leave home, leave offices to go home, that they turn off the appliances, they turn off the switches, they turn off the sockets, the wall sockets and all of that. So there are no electrical fires. So they are the ones that make sure that fire drills are organized, drills, emergency drills, evacuation drills simulate hazard situations, emergency situations, and everybody can file out in a systematic way and all of that. So it's critical.
Okay. So from all you've said, I want to believe that even in families, like everyone should get trained because you don't know if that particular person that is a fire responder or first responder isn't around and there's an emergency.
Yeah.
How does one cope? Shouldn't this be something that everyone in our society is trained? Shouldn't this be a training that everyone in our society has?
It should be. As a matter of fact, in most organizations, it forms part of your driver's license training.
Okay.
Or it forms part of your certain level of high school training, as a matter of fact. So you need to learn CPR, you need to learn how to organize these things, you need to learn how to identify fire, how to call the emergency services, and simple things like that. Yes, in our society, as a matter of fact, it needs to be embedded into our training plan. For workplaces, it needs to be embedded in their maybe new employee orientation plans and what have you. In our society, we have youth corps system, so you need to be embedded in such kind of situation. So it becomes systematic that people get trained and learn to do that. Because these days you find out that in accident scenes or some incident situations, everybody brings out their phones to make videos of incidents instead of helping
But not
out
to help.
because they do not know how to or what to do. And also, these are part of the critical things that needs to be done as a matter of fact.
So let's talk about training. If I am listening to this show now and I feel, oh, he's making a point and I would want to be trained, what's the typical thing for one to do? Where can one get trained?
Right. So it's easy to get trained, and part of what we are also doing and preaching with the emergency response services is having these trainings, converted to our local languages. For instance,
Okay.
Pidgin English, major local languages like Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. So it's easy for people to learn. If, for instance, you say, okay, I don't speak good English or I can't learn in English, you can learn in Pidgin or you can learn in your local language or in any of the three important local languages. Trainings can be done online, trainings can be done in physical locations, as the case may be.
How often should emergency drills be conducted in, let's say, offices or public places? Because most people, you will find out that we've worked in a particular place for a very long period of time and not one emergency drill has been conducted there.
Right. So in standard workplaces, fire drills or simulations should be conducted about twice a year. And then depends on locations that have high um, hazardous materials, then it can be conducted more than twice, maybe quarterly. And sometimes, depending on the functions or the activities or the operations within that workplace, it can also be done after certain risk assessment is being done. It can be identified that simulations can be done, as often as possible. And sometimes when new employees come into an organization, also some of them need to be um, take part in these drill activities. And also in some workplaces, depending on the activities, you know, individuals needs to be shown like even a short video on where the evacuation plans are, but most workplaces are not aware of that and don't implement that.
Now, when you were responding earlier, I heard you talk about communication.
Right.
Further buttress this point you were making about how you're trying to see that there's a syllable that is in basic languages.
Right.
Tell us also the role communication plays in emergency situations.
Right. So put it this way, we have the best trained first responder who speaks perfect English, and he finds himself to work in a community or in a workplace that folks don't understand English, then all his efforts will be futile because he can't communicate with the people. Or if he is a very knowledgeable individual and he finds himself in a location where individuals have deafness, then it's all not going to work. For instance, if the safety signs are written in a foreign language that you can't interpret, then it's all a loss, meaning that communication is very vital because we have to, communication builds confidence, communication builds orderliness so that there can be orderliness in evacuation plan and systems and all of those. So as a matter of fact, communication is everything in terms of evacuation plans and drills and what have you during emergencies.
Thank you so much for all you have educated us on. We'll pause this conversation and go on a short break. When we come back from that break, my guest will still be in the studio and this discussion continues. So please go nowhere.
This is Call the Police.
Live on the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5 Abuja.
The least you and I can do is to assist them by making security our primary concern.
Security is everyone's business. This is why NTA Channel 5 Abuja is collaborating with the FCT Police Command in providing a weekly platform for up-to-date security check in the FCT. Join us for the real information every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station.
Welcome back from that break. It's good to know that you're still with us. Before we went on that break, I and my guests have been discussing a lot about developing first responders and fire service in workplace to help in emergency response. And you had addressed a lot that I think my guests will have to do catch up if they want to know what happened, transpired before now. Now, I'd like you to speak to us about some common mistakes during emergency situations.
Right. So most of the common mistakes during emergency situations or emergency response, one is not being able to communicate in the right languages that people can understand. If people speak the same language and understand the same languages, then it's easy for them to obey instructions and also follow instructions and be saved. Second of all, will be using wrong directional signs or wrong safety signs. Safety signs are very valid, and sometimes, depending on the situation, people don't realize that different situation requires different color codes for safety signs, for instance.
Oh, there are color codes.
There are color codes.
Okay.
And also, sometimes during emergencies, places can go dark, for instance. In fire emergency in certain situations, power goes off. And power goes off, areas that are not well lit get pitch dark. And then people struggle to find ways to evacuate the buildings, which is why exit routes have illuminated signs. So these illuminated signs illuminate in darkness, so people can follow those signs to evacuate. Thirdly, also, people look at their offices and realize that they have fire extinguishers, not realizing that those fire extinguishers are expired because they have validity. So you're thinking you have one, and by the time you go to use it, and it fails because it's not functional, it's expired. So that needs to be updated from time to time. At the same time, most workplaces refuse or really do not have sign-in systems, which means that you can have a number of head counts, how many people are in the building, so you can be able to evaluate how many people are saved. So except people sign in as they come in, it's difficult for you to have a head count in high traffic areas also. Now, people construct buildings without uh, considering exit routes. So exit route needs to be very visible, needs to be very accessible, and exit route needs to be open. But for security reasons, people have exit routes, but exit routes are under lock and key. So when it's time to evacuate using the exit route, you can't because it's under lock and key. So people are stuck within the building. And sometimes part of the panic situations grow when there and causes stampede because people can evacuate. And also people have lost a very shallow stairway to run down, and then people get stampeded, and then people fall over themselves, injuries are caused, and lives are lost. So there are a bunch of them, but we can take them one at a time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that insight. Now, what tools do fire responders or fire wardens typically use?
Right. Okay, now going forward, there are certain AI tools, digital tools that fire responders can use. And some of these enables them to have to perform audits and inspections on the firefighting equipment in the offices. And that also sends them reminders on expiration, and then also sends reminders to their bosses, on the expiration of those equipment, so they can be reserviced or recertified or replaced. Now, in addition to that, the basic tools responders will use will be like first aid, AED equipment, will include whistles and reflective vests, and also they need to have posters with their pictures and names on different floors of their building, so the wardens are known. And wardens are what you call safety champions. So they need to be appreciated, from time to time, because the work they do, they save lives. Nobody wants to come to work and go back in a body bag, wants to, or go home with some piece of your body amputated. So people want to come to work and go home the way you came, or even better. So wardens and emergency responders are safety champions that needs to be appreciated from time to time. So their picture needs to be put in a conspicuous place in the office places, and then also their names and their titles shown. So they need whistles, they need other microphones or amplifiers that they can use to make announcements and all of that. So these are simple tools that emergency responders or fire wardens need to have.
So for everyone doing something of this magnitude, you said that they need to be encouraged. How can communities, how can organizations, how can the government, what can this group of individuals do to make the work of fire responders easier?
Well, what they can do to make it easier is from government side with the legislation to make sure that every workplace, every public place, which includes transport stations, worship centers, education centers, markets, malls, banking halls, all these public areas have fire wardens. So have a policy in place that will make sure that they are mandated to have fire wardens, and also to make sure that non-compliance has a repercussion, for instance, so people can be reprimanded if they are not compliant to those kind of rules or laws, so that fire wardens and first responders have some legislation backing them that most workplaces has to have.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and educating us so much about fire responders and fire wardens. We actually didn't know all of this information. Thank you for educating us. And we hope that next time when we call you, you would be available.
Thank
but
you.
before you go, sir,
Right.
advice to the general public.
Right. Right. So my simple advice to general public, our people like to build big buildings. Our people like to have big hotels, big malls, big churches, big schools, big homes. Please make sure that as you do your design, as your architect and your structural do your designs, that they put in place that there has to be need to have evacuation plan in that building, so that in constructing those buildings, that their exit routes in that building, have that at the back of your mind that it's critical to have. Second of all, know that in that your fancy office and your fancy hotels or fancy schools or fancy public areas, that there are drills, done, even if it's once a year or a couple of times a year. That is really critical. That costs you nothing. It costs you absolutely nothing. And please, to our insurers, to make sure that as they insure those buildings and those public places, that they also make sure that they conduct some kind of risk assessment within that building before they go to insure them. Because usually public liability insurance comes to play in situations like that, in public places that do not have very valid and very intentional evacuation plans and all of that. So to make sure that your public places have evacuation plans in place, and it's very conspicuous and is known to people, both residents and even visitors from time to time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joe Odua. Thank you.
Thank you.
It has been an interesting conversation with my guest on developing first responders and fire warding in workplaces to help in emergency response. We all come to work, or that public place we go to, we all want to go back safely, as he said. So let's remain alert and encourage those who put their lives on the line to ensure that we are safe. Now, Good Morning Abuja will continue after this time out. Stay with us.
Good evening. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
We celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
The
Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Would say have a lovely day.
Welcome back from that break. Now, we all know that when you learn and you feel you've gotten everything and you stop learning, that is the death of you, if not physically, but intellectually. So continuous learning is something that every human being who is alive, alert, and breathing and wants to progress should continue to do. Now, my guest is already in the studio, and from my introduction, I know you're guessing what we will be talking about. My guest is a human resource administrator, human capacity development expert, and business coach. Wow, this is a young man whose cap has a lot of feathers. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
My guest is James Adama. Welcome once again. All right, so we will be looking at repositioning the Nigerian workforce through human capacity development. Now, when we talk about human capacity development, because we can't talk of the whole topic without picking that out. When we look at that, what exactly is it saying?
Thank you very much once again for having me. You see, human capacity development is a very broad subject, but we always try to narrow it down for people to understand. And so when you talk of human capacity development, you're talking of the process of improving education, skill, competence, character, and the general capability of an individual for to improve their performance for better productivity, of course. So you see, there the point to bring out there is that it's for knowledge expansion. You're talking of talk of human capacity development. You're talking of knowledge expansion. You're talking of skill enhancement. You're talking of mindset shaping. You're talking of and character reforms, character and maturity checks. So that's what we talk about when we are talking about human capacity development generally.
Is a holistic approach, right?
Yes.
I can also see that you kept mentioning character.
Yes.
So it is possible for one to have all of this to develop themselves, and then character
Yes.
brings a person down.
Thank you. We always miss a whole lot of things. People are always particular when we talk of skill, because of course we are going to be talking about skills a lot in this subject. And when people believe that all you need is the skill, go and do the skill, go and do the skill thing. Character is the foundation of every performance. You can have all the skills, you can have all the resources, but if you don't have the character, you can't move, you can't drive it. So character is like the engine of every operation. Every individual need a working character to be able to carry out their tasks effectively. So that is why we can't take, in fact, character, if you discover, I made give emphasis to the character thing.
Yes, and that's why I picked on it. Now you are a human resource administrator, you are a human capacity development expert, and a business coach.
Yeah.
That's like three things in one. Speak to us about how relevant it is for one to do more than one thing now in this time we find ourselves.
You see, the world is changing. For instance, I'm a civil servant. I work with the National Open University of Nigeria. I'm the record officer in the Directorate of Human Resources. So I'm a civil servant. So say I want to rely on my my monthly salary, where is it going to take me? Of course, you should have the knowledge of what the pay is for civil servants in the country at the moment. So that cannot sustain any human being. But of course, you have time to dive into a whole lot of other things. I currently have not less than 5 functioning businesses.
Wow.
And I don't have to be there. The good thing is that you don't have to be there all the time for the business to function. So all you need is the mindset and the readiness to drive these innovations.
Okay. We've spoken a lot about what human development means, why it is necessary. Now tell us about the challenges, because for everything there are pros and cons. So we've looked a little at the pros. Now let's look at challenges of the Nigerian workforce. What exactly is it?
The Nigerian workforce is faced with a lot of challenges.
Okay.
But for the subject matter, let me quickly point out maybe two.
Okay.
And one very important is skill gap. There's still a gap in the acquisition of skills and the skill literacy of many people. Let me tell you, there are many employers who cannot even meet up with their job schedule at the moment because they don't have the skill. Some of them were employed maybe say 5 years ago, and all they came to that organization with is all they have till date. No training, no personal development, no improvement. And of course, we have been clamoring for digitalization, that the world is going global, and it has come to stay. So there seems to be a skill gap. Go talk of graduate, for instance. Like I said, I've consulted for a lot of firms, and when you interview their applicants, you will be surprised that there are a lot of people who have their skills penned down in their resume, but they are totally disconnected from the skills they mentioned. They can't perform. So certificate is not the issue here. Can you be productive? That is what is in play. So that is a huge challenge. And the second thing is that I would say is a very big challenge is the mindset thing and poor orientation. people seems to have very, very outdated orientation about skill, and it leads to something, entitlement mentality. So you feel you have the certificate, you should have a job. You know someone, so you should have a job. Or maybe you have even been employed. So you feel because you have been employed, you should continue to get paid. Some even clamor for promotion. You should be promoted because you are on the job. But there is no input, no improvement in your contribution to the organization. And I usually call it expecting reward without corresponding value. People don't put value into what they do. And you can't give what you don't have.
Yes.
That is why we keep hammering on upskilling. The world is changing. The world is going, innovation is coming from every angle. So they need to be a lot of awareness. Of course, while I talk about awareness, there's something that is going on, and I have a personal problem with it anyway. The awareness about this thing, we are just doing awareness, and people are not going practical to approach the challenge.
Okay.
It's one thing to tell your child that the scorpion bites. It's another thing to tell your child when you see a scorpion, kill it.
Kill it.
So we are just telling people this, without telling them to launch into upskilling themselves and going practical with this whole thing. I always tell people, don't play politics with yourself. It's like promising yourself or telling yourself things you cannot
You
do.
cannot do. I can imagine
So
that.
we need to work on that orientation. It's a mindset shift that we need to work on.
All right. So I just kept listening to you, and I almost got lost listening to you, because what you are saying are practical things, are things I see every day. Now, you spoke about technology. So I know that technology is here to stay. And then people have the fear of AI. We're even afraid of technology coming, because a lot of people have spoken about how work is evolving and how, in the nearest future, AI might just take our workspace. So I think we should go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue. We'll pick up this conversation. All right, so we'll go on a break. And when we come back, you don't want to miss what my guest has to say, because you can see that he's loaded. He's just dishing it out for us. All right, let's take that break.
I don't know what it is, but she drives me crazy.
Marriage, a beautiful bond, but not without its battles. Behind every smile is a story. Behind every I do is a journey. Mr. and Mrs., the show that peels back the curtain on real relationships. No scripts, no filters, just truth.
I've become a better husband because I've learned a lot from the mistake of the past.
I had feelings, but I wanted to be sure.
Do I have to kneel down to marry a woman?
No, but just do the right.
Join us every week as we sit down with real couples to talk about the raw, the real, and the redemptive side of marriages. From newlyweds to seasoned partners of 40 years plus, no topic is off limits.
Have you ever been in love?
At the end of the year, he came to the village. I saw, this is the brother I saw that time. He said, please, I want to marry you.
This is modern entertainment. It's an invitation to grow, to heal, and to love again. Mr. and Mrs. is about real love, real struggles, and real hope. Every couple has a story. What's yours? Join us on NTA Channel 5, the Unity Station, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
'Cause all of me loves all of you.
Welcome back from that break. Yes, we're still here in the studios of NTA Channel 5, Abuja, and the show is Good Morning, Abuja. My guest, I had already introduced him, and we're already talking about our topic for discussion today. And so we were talking about, before we went on that break, we're talking about the future of the workplace with technology, AI, and all of that. Where do you see the future of work in the nearest, let's say, 5 years, with all these inventions and fear that people have? Do you see AI taking over? Do you see robots, sitting and interviewing their fellow robots instead of human beings, or what?
Okay, thank you. Now, let me quickly maybe work on your fears. I've attended a couple of conferences, both local and international, where we have to talk about this AI thing, the AI thing, and the fear. The fear is what you perceive from people.
Yes.
Of course, AI cannot operate itself. And that is why we are talking about upskilling, people preparing themselves. AI cannot give itself command. It still needs you to give it command. So AI is not here to take your job. AI is just here to make your job easier. And how can you work with the AI if you don't prepare yourself, if you don't understand that language? There's a language the AI understood. And so you need to prepare yourself to be able to fit into that language. So we don't have to be scared. I'm not scared. In fact, it makes my job easier. I have so many to do in the office lately, but with a lot of technology, the job has been easy. And so you ask, where do I see the future workforce? You say in the next, say, 5 years, 10 years. Let me say, maybe we don't need to look the next 5 years. We don't need to look the next 10 years. We are already here. Automation, digitalization is already here. AI that we talk about is already here. People, everything is now digital. AI is here to stay. So we are already in that age. And another thing is that, COVID-19, as anytime you heard COVID-19, I know there's this there's this sad remembrance. But of course, it presented us with a very good model, which is hybrid and remote working, having to work from home. So, but you can't work from home if you don't have the skill to do so. And especially in the current Nigeria. So people should be able to work conveniently from the comfort of their home or anywhere they are. Like I said, I work in an organization that, of course, you can learn from anywhere at any time, any day. And so people should be able to work from the comfort of their home. That is the age where we are right now.
Yes.
While I was seated outside waiting, my laptop is in the car. There were issues from the office I had to address even from here. So that is the age where we are. And that is why these people need to get themselves equipped for these skills that we are talking about.
Now, you keep talking about upskilling. My question is, which core capacities or which core skills should Nigerian youth or should Nigerian populace, go for?
Okay.
It's easy for us to sit here and talk about upskilling, but someone watching might be like, oh, okay, so but what skill do I need?
Okay, so there are quite a number of them. But let me point you to one. Digital skill. Currently, everybody should strive to go for digital skills. Do you know, I've had the privilege to interview some young graduates, and even maybe sometimes NYC people, they usually call me to address their people. And when you interact with the young ones, you will understand that many of them, if you ask them, can you use a computer? They'll tell you no. Even though they are carrying heavy gadgets in their hands, they don't even know how to use computer. But if you check people's CV, you will see a diploma in computer appreciation, this one, MS. So people need to go practical on digital skill.
So we've passed the age of just writing it on a paper and you cannot
telling everybody that you know how to. We have gone past just you are looking for a job. They ask you, can you use computer? You say, I can try. It's not just you can try. You should be confident at this age. Any young, especially the young people, to be able to lay their hands on some applications in the computer and be able to deliver effectively. Another skill that I think people should learn, and which has caused a lot of disaster in our workforce, is emotional intelligence. People, you will agree with me that people don't know how to communicate. People understand English, but they don't know how to communicate. I've worked with many people, and people, in fact, like I told you, I'm a record person. So I deal with posting and all of that. I've had younger staff, junior staff come to meet me. My boss is this, my boss is that. Can you help me? I want posting. And I used to talk to them. You want me to post you from here? The place you are going, do you know the place? So what it means is that people need to learn communication.
Yes.
How to
You see, communication is not just what you say from your mouth. It is understanding the countenance of a person. And that is why we need to, and of course, emotional intelligence is something that you can learn. You need to just calm down and understand people's temperament. It can help you enhance your productivity. It's not just as a superior in an organization or in an office. It's not just giving command or giving direction, but the person you are giving command or giving direction. Did you see the person? Is the person fit at the moment to do this job? Is the person okay health-wise? So we need to learn emotional intelligence.
There's so much more I would have wanted us to talk about, but unfortunately, you know how it is. Time is always against us when we're having such interesting conversations. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so as your parting words, what would you want our viewer to if they don't take away anything from this conversation, what's that thing you want to stick?
Okay. Everybody should invest in personal development. You cannot drive others until you're able to drive yourself. You can't give what you don't have. Success in life is not a gift. It does not come by chance but by choice. You have to be deliberate. Life is a product of personal adventure. It takes personal responsibility for you to get personal possibilities. So you need to go out for yourself first. Don't learn because your office wants you to deliver. Learn because you want to be productive as a person. You want to be responsible as a person, because the world is growing. Life is growth, development, and evolution. For you you need to take off the old garment and wear the new garment to fit into the new ceremony.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
That's deep. Thank you so much, my guest, for coming on the show. Good morning, Abuja. You made valid points that I am also taking away. You said something about life is responsibility and possibility.
Life is a product of personal adventure.
Okay.
It takes personal responsibility to get personal possibilities.
That is my takeaway. Thank you for coming once again on the program.
You're welcome.
Well done.
Thank you.
My guest has been James Adama. He's a human resource administrator, human capacity development expert, and business coach. When I grew up, I would like to be like him, do a lot of things, all at the same time. Well, he has spoken to us about how we should develop ourselves to be ready for the future of work, which is here with us already. Now, Good Morning Abuja will continue after this time out. Do stay with us on the Unity Station.
I welcome you on today's ride on the show Good Morning Abuja.
This is Window on Abuja.
We have everything it takes to compete with any nation all across the world.
How do we make it? We are ready to produce.
I've been contributing to the development of your kingdom.
Hello and welcome to Young Hearts.
Our focus today will be on hepatitis B.
Ladylike!
This is Entertainment Gist.
In the 14th century, 15th, 16th century, and even 17th.
to cure our greed.
The purpose why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to create humanity.
The Bible talks about a man called Apollos. This is NTA Abuja Channel 5.
See you same time.
And have a great and blessed week ahead.
Welcome back. You know that when it's Wednesday, we always come your way with beautiful local songs. So let's listen to Fair Fami by Awodo Auta.
Someone on the beat.
awaze walo laba ona iye ede umu wahuma ya iba kwasenu sanem ya yalo daga mata yalo eba makum ya ya bebe kafe ya ya sanem dagolo daga mata dalo eba makum ya da bebe kafe ya da shena obelo awam wala danu aga woti ba ruboy ama wate besuko tawai ka cheda mi wage ka cheda du so agwa ku ya injaku bagi wo injape woto ya yesu beture di ana wogo otike owo dana jiko o ma te ye se ko ni izaba wage woni ka sa ya wa wa ya iba ko sainu manga pe pa mi makomi ya ya
Fami there. Wow, I totally enjoyed that song. You know, that local blend to it was what made my day. All right. Now for most people, we struggle with what to eat for breakfast. Most people, most of the times it's the normal tea and bread and then we rush off. But here we are bringing your way what you can have, a beautiful breakfast menu this morning. Let's go to the kitchen and find out what's cooking.
Good morning, Abuja. Welcome to the kitchen segment with me, your host, Nellysville. In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make a very delicious breakfast recipe using oats. Without any further ado, let's jump right into this cooking action, guys. Recipe, we need our oats, and then we have milk, have chia seed, little bit of sugar, apples, peanuts or granules, coconut flakes, and some dried fruits. So let's start putting this together. All right, I will go in with my milk. So creamy. I'll go in with my chia seed. I soaked this in water. And chia seed is optional, but it's very, very good for you. It's very, very healthy. And then sugar, just a pinch. The main ingredients. We're going to go in with our oats. Now you're going to use your oats. Quantity depends on for how many people you're making for. All right. So we're going to cover our blender and then we're going to blend. So that's the blending done. Let's put it together. So we're going to pour. So these are 7 options. Pour it. You can use a smaller bowl though. So I'm going to add my apples. Now use any fruit. You can use banana. You can use even orange, grapes, whatever fruit you have at hand, okay? We just want to make sure we have fruits that are so crunchy. So we're going to add nuts. Now you can use almond, cashew nuts, whatever nuts, okay? Just a little of that. And then our coconut flakes. Can just sprinkle that like so. And our dried fruits. You can use raisins, you can use apricots, whatever. You can use blueberries, you can use strawberries. You can just go overboard, whatever tickles your fancy. So this is another serving option. You can do that on your mug. So I'm going to sprinkle some date syrup. This is optional, all right?
Wow, looked delicious. I wish I would just, somehow find my way and fly into that food so I can have a taste of it. All right. Now, what would the weather look like? It's been hot these days. And the sun just comes out in the morning, sometimes around 8, and I'm wondering what is happening. Let's try and stay hydrated. Now let's find out what our weather outlook is today. And with that weather report, we come to the end of today's edition of Good Morning Abuja. Yes, we had interesting conversations. I would like to say thank you to our guests for coming and educating us this much. And also, I would never leave the stage without saying thank you to you, our esteemed viewer. Yes, you were there, you listened to us, and I'm sure you learned a thing or two, because I did. Now, from the entire production crew, we wish you a very lovely day. I remain Pamela.